Good evening. This is Jared with Carbon Digital. Today we're going to cover a project that we recently completed and just go through some of the things that we found that were done well, and then go through some of the custom things that we had to do to actually achieve the result that we were looking for with the client. So let's dive right in, and we'll start with the actual project specifics before we dive into the pages that we are discussing. So here we have our contract that was signed. You can see here, this is our standard timeline for projects. This is not 4 to 8 weeks. This was updated. It's actually 8 to 12. For this one specifically, we shortened it to try to keep it down. We were trying to get things done faster, and that definitely did not happen for this project. But then we broke it up into these milestones instead for these specific phases because the client had specific needs for their website. For example, they needed to have a generic quote form ready to go so they could start using it right away. And so we definitely got that done real quick. And then we rolled into a custom image upload form so they can provide their graphics. And then we built out the rest of the non-store part of the website. And then finally, we built out the store functions of the website. So as you can see here, that looks like these 4 phases sign off was completed. So that is a beautiful thing. So let's dive into the first couple of items here. So we have these custom product pages. So on these pages, we have this form here, their custom quote form. And we ended up doing something for this that was what you would consider non-standard. So here we have the first form. And then down here, these line items, this is actually a second form. And you can see that here where this is the quote form. And at the end of the quote form, line item data is what we're injecting into it. But here we have a separate form that are the line items themselves. And you can see that here by selecting a product and a product type, and you get to a quantity, then you can add a new line item with a different product type. And so this was something that they needed as part of their quote form, because what if they're on the hat page, but they also need some other products? So this is not something that Gravity Forms, which is what we use here. Gravity Forms and most other form plugins don't support this type of logic by default. So we had to write a lot of code to make this happen. And that was a pretty fancy customization thing. I presume that we'll try to leverage that capability in the future as well, because that turned out really well. Then we have the gallery page. So this was a fun, swift kick in the butt type of thing that we did here. We had something set up first, and then we had to modify it like 4 or 5 iterations. And that was not fun, but it turned out really well. So these different products here are supposed to be products that they've completed, which they haven't actually entered in any of their products yet. But for this one specifically, we can show you where are we at. Gallery items. Here we go. So for a gallery item, what this looks like is you select an image from your store or from your website, and then you select a product from your WooCommerce store, which is really pretty sweet. And once you select the image of your work and then the related product, you save it, and then that actually shows up here on the gallery. So then we also had to tweak it to only show top level categories for the store, because that's where these categories are coming from. So we pulled these from the store, and then we created that CPT that I just showed you to actually pull out this information. And these actually could be bigger. They had a lot of crazy requirements for how it looks and whatnot, but nonetheless, we got this piece done, and that was a lot of custom code put into this page to actually make that happen. Next, we have a pretty fancy little thing here. So this is their thank you page. Every order that is placed within the WooCommerce store will automatically redirect to this page. That was done through custom code. Then on top of that, they wanted these buttons here. So when you click on this, it'll actually show you the form. And this little order number piece right here, this is really good because we can add URL parameters to the website. So this is called order, and the order number is ABC123. Enter, refresh the page, and open. And that auto fills this order number. So that's a very useful feature that can be used with WooCommerce and without commerce. So if you do any manual custom orders from that quote page, if you take any orders there, you can also just add this information to the link, and it'll autofill that information for you, which is pretty cool. I actually wonder if this will show that form. Nope. Okay. So you're still gonna have to click on that button. But yeah, that's a pretty sweet little enhancement that we did. And then after that comes the big thing that we did for them, and that's custom middleware. So initially, when we priced out this project, we were operating off of the assumption that there was a plugin, which I can show you, Gravity Forms, boom, has these add-ons. Excuse me. And in these add-ons, these are the ones built by Gravity Forms. There's this Dropbox add-on. And so it used to allow you to create a folder and then put your files in that folder. That is no longer the case. Now you get a folder for the entire website, and it throws all files in there. Excuse me. So while that might be okay for some situations, in this situation, we're talking about graphics files, and you don't know how they're going to be uploading the forms, or they're going to be providing PDFs, JPEGs, PNGs, AI files, all kinds of stuff. And you don't know how they're going to be named. You don't know how you're going to be receiving them at all. So what you really need is that folder to be created and put all those files in that folder. So this did not work. And that's a change from their previous versions that is no longer an option. So we actually tried the Dropbox API to see if we can custom develop a solution through the Dropbox API to replicate the same thing. And that did not work either. Because if that was the case, we could still use this plugin. We would just kind of tweak it so it creates the folder first and then puts the files in the folder. That didn't work. We also tried Google Drive. We tried that as well with a sync type situation. That failed. And then we tried to use Zapier and Make to try to get this to work as well. But those two tools did not have the capability to do this in an easy way without really jacking up the cost for them. So what we ended up doing was we ended up creating this custom middleware. And what it does is this form will submit those files to the middleware, and the middleware will go to a specific Google Drive folder that we've defined in the client's account, and it will create a folder with the order number, and then it will put all those files in that folder. And so the actual usage cost for this is $5 a month. So as long as they're not clearing 1,000 uploads a month, it's going to be really cheap, a lot cheaper than Zapier is going to be for the same solution. And so that was a pretty cool thing that we did for this client. And now they're in the final stages of, we've completed the project, but now they're in the final stages of making sure all of their information is accurate on the website, like the store stuff. They're in the final setup stages for that, you know, connecting your payment processor and things like that. So this will actually be launched pretty soon, and we're very excited to see where it goes. So if you would like to know how we could do some gangster shit for you too, send us an email, hello@carbondigital.us. Take it easy.